Mic check. Welcome to the channel. This is Reliable Rudy. Before we go into any of the title names, any stock market analysis, you guys know I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Everything in this live stream, in this video, is me simply sharing my opinion, nothing more, nothing less. I'm just a guy doing what he loves to do. We do this every single day. We're not perfect, but we're going to try and learn and get better, and maybe make some money in the process. So, with that being said, uh, GNS, we have an alert for GNS. It opened at 42s. Had the alert pre-market for 37s. We were actually on the bid at 35s in the pre-market. Never got a fill. But this is sort of that window that I'm looking for, and this one can probably be ran across to this sort of little neckline tip right there. So we would have tried to start hitting some reloads on the name, but still kind of in this sort of descending wedge pattern. Not any weight could be held to this, and it might even be like a channel, but just connecting the tops for right now. That's how we're playing. So if we get alerted, we are going to try and reload some of the GNS, and we got about 25% of the position. After we had a 208 yesterday, we had a 192 stop, and we had a 180 stop get executed. Tried to catch a bid, but this red move to the downside, catching a little bit of resistance and opening down, which is alright. There's nothing wrong with that. If this is going to go, the longs are going to protect our entry down here. So nothing to really panic about yet. We have the third candle opening up right here. So on to the second title name, a new one, and one that we are in the red on, but only because it's a wash sale. We've talked about SoundTown the last couple days. We said, hey, we have a more solidified uptrend that's building right here. We were trying to wait for it to come back down and retest these 25s. Well, now I call this the nut up or shut up candle. It's got a flat top that's building. If we just mark 250 flat, now there's going to be trading above it. But on this first candle, when it gaps up, we took our first fill, small order size off of 254s. We got 252s. We had 250s where we started adding a little bit more size, and we were on the bid at 247s, which is the gap up price. And this was more of that solidified order size. Well, it started catching a bid, and when it broke 256, it really started going, and we have no trims on the name, but we are thinking about these 270s for a first trim, and that is the start of the gap fill. So if we go over to our daily chart, you can see this 270 right here. We gap down, it doesn't have the weakness, so I'd say 270 to this gap at 292s. We're gonna just execute 1/15th trims, a nice flat top break right here. Even if it has to pull back tomorrow or into next week, we think that our entry is a pretty decent entry for the name and getting close to that positive break. So if we're lucky, we can actually get a nice positive break and see some extensions. Now, if this is going to be a retracement play, just mapping this out, you can see this 40 or 64 is that first level. We're looking at 311 as our next retracement. If this gives us a 702 retracement, we're looking at almost a double up from these 250s. So 64% is what we're looking for. The move on this, we're trying to hold a piece for that. Now, if we end up getting stopped out, we want to have some trims into some levels to keep it a green trade. But we have played this name before. I believe we played it a little bit over here as it was trying to hold this support range. But then we end up getting stopped out. We show patience. You know, we could just have just bought the knife as it's going down, but you never really know what the market's going to do. So we've always kept SoundHound on watch. It was a name that we've made money on. We made money on the move up here back in February. We made money on the move here in June. Uh, and you know, we end up getting stopped out of both of those, and now starting back up, we like the setup, and we think that we can get some continuation on the name. Let's go over to the 15-minute chart. You can see a lot of volume, kind of a wick washout top as we're approaching those 270s. But if it can take out this high, I'm looking for a nice green candle to come in, and we will respect these levels to the upside. So the wash sale has it as a red trade, but a pretty decent entry. I feel we're if you call it a 52 average, we're sitting 13 cents in the money as of right now. That doesn't mean that it's going to keep going up, but that's what we preach on the channel. Get the entry, trim the levels, and hold a piece for the dream. So on to the next name, GM. A nice level here at these 3350s. We've been talking about it, and giving a nice second candle of the day. Here's your opening candle. Kind of trades down in it. Tried to open around those 50s, but you can see this sort of resistance right here. If we go to that daily chart, you can see when it traded back down in here, and we're talking about these 32 entries, we're like, okay, I will believe this sort of setup if it can get back over top of these highs. Well, now we're here today. So GM catches a title name, and yeah, we'll see. It does have some resistance building up right here. You got the previous lows. You got these wick tops right here. So does it need to reject and just trade sideways? Maybe it does. But we're looking for this to get out of this oversold area. Finally, it has a small dividend. I don't think there's going to be too much weight made for this. But we got a cost average underneath 33s. I can go take a look at that if I needed to, but uh, we like the long for this, and honestly, I don't think we're even going to respect 34s. We're going to be holding more so for these lows over here, kind of a breakdown of that level. So 35.50 to 36 is going to be that first area that we really look at for trims, but those are only going to be small 5% trims. We think that we can get this back up to the top end of this range. So if we get that type of move, we will be very excited to trim the name down, and who knows, maybe we can come back down into this monstrous level down here near 32s. And the last name, Warner Bros. Nothing's changed, guys. 13, we looked at it and said that if it can hold above 13, this is a monster. This could be a name that really gets going, and I'd say 1450 is sort of that flat top. But just looking at this, kind of just keeping all the lows in, a nice trend line being built right there. And you can also say that, it was trading back inside of this range. The trend line holds, and now we're breaking back over this downtrend. So if this really wants to get going, 1450s is a level that we're going to be hitting. But if we get over top of 1450s, before you know it, you got these highs up here, 15 to 16. You got your flat top gap at 1750, which probably needs a small trim. But if this really wants to start going, you can see the ascending channel build. And the resistance that I really want to cut is up into this flat bottom break. We never really have a retest of it. I'm sure when it breaks it down, it has one little retest. Sure does. But if this wants to catch a bid to the top end of the channel, we think that is sort of the move that this name can give. So if you call it a 1250, we had a few orders off of those 1250s, a couple of them. If this catches a bid, we're looking for 60% upside for the name. Now, is that going to happen? Probably not. But looking at the 15-minute chart, couple nice green candles breaking over yesterday's high. I would say the next level that you have is this 315. Now we talked about these previous lows right at 13. You can see it rejecting it, a little bit of a false break, but now solidifying its move above that is a good look. So 1315 is actually has some test of that flat bottom break, and when it breaks it down, we have 3 tests right into the bottom of that. But we're not looking to trim that. We think that we can fight through that. If it is a retracement and we're looking for a 702, you can see sort of these lows that we're trying to hold have some breakdowns of it, but 1340 could be something. But in front of 14s, 14 to 1450 is a range that I would say is sort of a trim level. I mean, we can go over all these names obviously on this list if we wanted to, but SPGC, we tried a very small position in this, and all we did today was put a stop in underneath 68s. It's small size, so it's not really gonna break the bank for us at all. But we'll see how that goes. If the stop can hold, maybe there's something there. But if it stops us out, we'll take the hit. Not a very big one. Soundhound getting red candle number one, that wick top with still increased volume, but a lot of selling pressure probably coming in that candle. We'll see if it needs to pull back down to this previous high. We can still try and get some more size on this name. Like I said, this is a wash sell, but we have taken profits on it, so I don't know how to calculate in the profits we've taken previous to the last time that we got stopped out. So by no means is this one, just running for us right now. We're going to be printing. If you date back to our last time we traded it, we are still out of the money. So we'll see how it goes. But I do like these first trims at 270s, kind of for the breakout. Maybe respect 75, but if it gets up to 292s, we are going to be respecting that gap. Devon could have been a title name, honestly. Oil looks pretty good. Continuing that slow churn, testing up to those 82s. We've talked about oil, I don't know how many times, and this was the week that we were really interested in. If you look at this weekly chart, this is candle number 3, pullback candle number 1, number 2, now number 3. Honestly, when I see this third candle put up a green candle, I'm not really expecting it to just shoot through the highs. If it matches another green candle, maybe. But I would actually expect it to have to trade back down to this 80 flat, maybe next week or the week after. So we could actually be looking at a few extra weeks on oil just trading around at this 80 level. But looking back at Devon, I would say Devon, you can see the U build. Now this is a nice green move, and each one of these wicks building that extra little U-shaped formation right here. You can see the trend line. We go back over to the daily. Is it going to be able to catch a bid to the top end? Tough to say, but we like the name. PMW, this one we had an alert on yesterday. It's that China IPO. It really started giving up the ghost at the end of the day. Well, we weren't at our computer. We were at work. So I mean that kind of sucks. So maybe we could have just had some orders in off of that. But I'd like to have an entry sitting at 565s. It is what it is, but we're going to keep it on watch. So we threw it up here just to keep an eye on it. But I do think that this gap, getting 2 pennies off right there, could be something. And maybe it needs to pull down into 5. So we don't want to go too quick into the name. We also threw Mullen up here. We do not own Mullen. But if this is going to be a pull for a bull flag, you can see these small candles. If this wants to start building that U shape, I would not be surprised to see a nice breakout level of this 93, which it wicks up to it, but that also is the previous low. So if it does want to end up breaking $1, the entry down here is definitely enticing. But looking at the 15-minute chart, you can see that we gap up. You have the gap fill buyers. It trades back into level. Now a green candle coming in. If this gets over 62, could be something here. And the reason why I say that is because this is a nice trend line that's kind of building right here. Obviously at the 15-minute chart, but over 62. One sec, I'll be right back. My bad. I had to clear my throat. NVAX, I mean, we're still in that same position with NVAX. 805 has yet to be filled, and I would say this is, I mean, if this isn't a trend line right here, then I don't know what is. So if this trend line does break, I'm looking for 805s. Ripley, you gotta lay down. Lay down. Go way down. Go way down. Go way down. What was I getting at? Oh, ATHM. Uh, I mean, this is one of the more monstrous trend lines I've seen, and I can't believe we haven't tried it once. But we are going to try this if this wants to come on in. You can see it. I would look at this as a neckline break. So if it does want to reclaim 30s on some sort of U build right here, we want to have the entry because we think that up here near this 34, 33, 33 half is a pretty decent little look, and that's 16 to 20%. Not half bad. And if it does want to break higher than that, I would say you maybe have a channel. Would it ever get to the top end up here? If it did, I mean, that's a pretty monstrous move, 70%. So we want to keep this on watch, and if this trend line does give up, we're gonna know, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have been able to identify this and say, hey, it's been pure gold. It's been nothing but gold. So let's try it. So if it goes against it, then I would say I would expect some outs, some stop losses to get triggered, and there's going to be an influx of selling pressure on the name. And, whether the name's fairly priced or not, they put up 55 cents a gap EPS for a $30 company. I'd say that's respectable valuation wise. Looking even ahead, expected 60 cents, so there is some growth being projected for the name as well. Other than that, everything kind of stays the same. I'd say looking at more of these names, Geo continuing to hold this 7 range. This is candle number 3 of this sort of first breakdown of it. Sound down coming back in. Is that going to be the wick top? Tough to say, but right into these 56s, I'd expect this to catch a bid. You have kind of a indecision candle, but uh, definitely some selling pressure up towards those 70s. BTI has been a notable move. I mean, we still haven't marked on our chart. We were trying this level here at 71s, and we had an order right off the gap. Some really nice fills. Now, those orders almost $2 in the money. So I mean, that's just an example of going against strength on a name that you like. Even if it is giving out the lows, which it was giving out these lows over here. Even though it was a very weak name. Uh, we like the value of this name. We've talked about it many times down here in these low 30s. Now there is some risk that go with this when you add into the menthol products, but um, we think that has some time before anything gets really settled out there. If it blows over, I would say this is a no-brainer long, and I would expect some continuation if it gets over top of this 34.25 neckline. But has to get there first. Soundhound, a little bit of buying pressure coming in towards those 56s, which is kind of what we just got done saying. But that doesn't mean that it's set in stone, gonna work for you there. But I would say that if this is a bull flag, we're gonna see continuation at that 270, where potential washout tops could be coming on in. But yeah, that's what I'll say about it. SPGC still holding those 68 lows, stops. Yeah, I mean, I don't see where else I would be able to put this. I could throw it underneath here and run a deep stop, but that's going way out of the money. I don't want to risk that much. As long as it just trades sideways and tries to hold right here, we think that these 68s can end up holding. Sound down right back in. A lot of time left on this candle, so by no means just because there's a little bit of wick of buying right there doesn't mean that's going to continue. Let's look at some top movers, and we can take a look at ICCT. We actually traded it in the pre-market. It has a nice little S formation. If I switch to a 5-minute, you can probably see that better. You can see the S now retesting those highs. Is it halted to the downside though, is the question. Is that 10% move right there? We can probably go from the wick top if it did go from that wick top right there. And that is 10%, so I would guess that it's potentially halted to the downside right here. And PayPal is notable as well. I would say that 62.50 break was legit. 62.50. I'm sure we can look a little bit to the left, but that could be the last retracement on the name as well. I'm going to be kicking myself when PayPal's trading back up in the 70s, 80s, maybe 100 for not trying more of it down here in these 60s. Kind of sucks, but is what it is. GNS, we can take a look back at that. Holding a green candle. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. Still trading inside the range though. Doesn't need to. I would expect it to show me some type of. But the big thing is that it gaps down. It filled that gap, so it doesn't really have to worry about that gap now. Now, if it can just confirm a higher low or hold 150s, I would say it's a decent look. Even though it's down 4% on the day, the previous day was down 30%. We think that this name has the potential to get a 250 break potentially. But until it breaks down some of these levels down here, I feel my entry is safe. Then we'll see about that. A new name that we added on was CGC. We do have an alert on it for this neckline, and maybe I can just put that alert right below that wick low. So if this starts to curl, it does have a decent uptrend and another decent uptrend. When we go over to the daily chart, you can see that through these wick lows, maybe something like that, but continuing the wick into this, so if it wants to keep holding this, maybe this top right here ends up being a neckline break. So just keeping it on watch. If there's something there, I think that the risk reward for this is, risk reward. There's your risk, and your reward could potentially be this gap up there. So a 60% reward on that gap fill could be worth it. Soundtown looks like it did get down and tap those 60 or 56s. Nope, not quite. GM coming on back into those 50s, and you can see that wick low coming down the 52s. First pullback candle, kind of light volume too, so I would say maybe something there. Looking at the top movers of the day, nothing that would really spark our eye. We can take a look at Carvana. A couple nice green candle moves, nice volume, but nice wick of buying pressure on that green candle as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see this candle turn green and show some more continued upside. Any other names that we really care about? I don't know. TMC, we had an alert on that at 32s yesterday, never triggered. But I do think TMC may have some potential. But let's see if it can come back down to the trend line. Workiva, wick tops up to 108.90. Strong move, taking out the highs. Gaps up, gap fill buyers are there. Boom, push it up higher. If this is looked at as a retracement play, here's your wick tops up here, right into that last retracement right there. So is 108.90 going to be something of resistance potentially? But a nice green move on the name. Soundhound right back into these 56s. Is this going to catch any bid? Increased selling pressure as well, so that's a little bit concerning. Looks like we are seeing a little bit of resistance on some of these names. Let's look at the red movers for the day. HPQ. Monster trendline gap down. Even the good names, earnings you could say were terrible, apparently. I don't know. I thought the earnings were decent. They actually issued a few shares from Q1, which was a little bit concerning, but I would say that they're probably expecting this trend line to potentially break at some point. But a monster trend line being broken, let's go look at the monthly for this name because I would say this has a significant trend line build. So if this were to trade down in, and here's a nice neckline in these mid 20s that holds, uh, maybe it needs to give this sort of wave pattern down to this trend line, which is low 20s. We will not be shy of buying this name in the low 20s. Soundhound giving up 55s here, or 56. So let's see if it can catch any type of buying pressure off of this. But really coming on in and increased red volume right here. So we are potentially going to be looking away from this. If it wants to kind of trade below these 250s, we can give it this gap fill, but giving out the lows of this candle is not really what I seen playing out for this name. And we were getting close to trimming some, so maybe it would have been nice to get some trims on the name. 53's coming on in, so really the volume right here is telling you a story that, hey, this is maybe not the name. But we'll hold tight here. We're right in around our first entry on the name, so we'll give it a little bit of time here. Looking at some more of these red movers, I'm not really seeing much. Let's go take a look back at ICCT. And this name is still halted. But an interesting level where it is halted though. I would say that, if I was looking at this, I would say 750, 760 range looks pretty bullish. Soundhound slightly in the green, or 2.5% in the green still. But some names really catching some resistance, so maybe there isn't too much to really go off of today. Maybe there is, I'm not sure. DFS right around that 90 flat level, kind of gapping up. Gap fill buyers were there originally, now kind of selling off, kind of probably with the market, I would say. The market seems like it's probably catching a little resistance. Disney down 0.5%. How does it act if it comes back down to these low 83s? Uh, we'll see. SPGC, this one's probably going to end up being a loser. It's just no volume, light trading. But I'm hoping for some volatility, hopefully in some of the Chinese ADRs, because I want to try this ATHM down here in these upper 29 or low 29s. Invax putting a red candle down toward this trend line. Is it going to be something that holds? No clue. GNS kind of just trading sideways. So look at the NASDAQ short, a nice green candle coming on in. I don't know why we had this marked, but it's holding it. Let's go see why we had this marked. Looks like we kind of the neckline break that it originally had, and we do have a gap fill here at 09. So it opens above. Nope, the gap fill was at 10, so we opened pretty much right above that. Trying to why does that happen? Soundhound trying to hold as a green candle from open. It's pretty much right where it. So I mean, if it does want to hold this 55 range, which it's holding 56 for now. So I mean, it could go either direction still, but I would say I'd lean more towards to it's gonna break down, come down, and fill these 47s. Mullen giving up this trend line, so that is a nothing. ASTS giving up the ghost a little bit. We had one trim on the name. But I do think that this name has some potential down here to catch a bid. You can see the green candle move, and you can see the original neckline break down here at these low 90s. So could be something there. We're going to keep Soundhound on watch right here. We're going to see how this acts at this gap. Um, when it looks like a candle like this, it just gives you the feel like, hey, washout top. Maybe we do have to come out down to this trend line again. Maybe, just maybe. GM still trying to hold wicking up towards those, uh, towards that 34. Amps coming right back in. I'm not opposed of adding more of this. We had no trims on the name. You're probably like, dude, this guy is freaking crazy. I like this name for strength. A nice three candle move. Now pulling back into the levels. You know, if this is just hovering around here over the next couple days, I think this is a legitimate swing trade potential right here, where is does have a nice uptrend that's probably trying to hold right there. Wick, wick, wick. Doesn't quite get there, but hold after their earnings. That, you know, I thought their earnings were good. So if this wants to just trade sideways, you know, even if it comes back down to 6, I will hold the position that I have and give it this trend line. This one is one that I would classify in that swing trade area. 56 is holding. We do have the open of the next candle. I would expect some selling pressure into these upper 50s though. So I mean, not really out of the woods yet. Let's look at Con. Con is having a day. Reported earnings today, now actually breaking for day's high. AMC up 5%. Uh, Decent amount of volume coming into the name though. Taking out the highs, it gaps up, fills the gap, trades up. Looking at the daily chart though, you can see it trying to hold these lows, so I could see it catching a bit up into these 12s. Go take a look at ICCT. That's probably unhalted now, and it is. And you can see wicking down after the halt band down to those 50s. Right into those 50s. We said, hey, this looks like pretty decent support right here. Is it going to be able to take out the highs is the question. Soundhound up to those 58. I would expect some type of selling pressure in right here. And they do have an intraday gap up from 54s. Warner Brothers right around that 13 flat. This is the title name, so we should talk about it. So kind of wicking up towards those 15s. SPGC still kind of hovering around here. I wouldn't say that it's out of the woods yet, but you know, SPGC actually a little bit of volume uptick there. I don't know how much that really means for the stock, but Enphase really hoping that this does somehow come back in to this sort of trend line. You can see it kind of like a fan or a cone pattern, but if it comes back into these 125s, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to resist, but we will see. Amps, we're gonna get an alert on this name. We'll put it at 48, and if that comes back into this sort of flat top break, we are going to be playing it. And I would say this neckline down here at 40s looks pretty good. After that, we'll be playing 25s, more than likely. There's your 25s. And then after that, probably playing the trend line. So somewhere in there. Yeah, we're going to stay true to this one and see how it goes. CGC, given this is 1, 2, 3, started showing you a little bit of volume increase. This one has increase in volume, but a wick is selling. So how does it act if it comes down in here? I'd say this is a decent trend line. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 legitimate points of contact. You can say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a few points there. So you could say multiple points of contact right there. I'd say solidified 4 points of contact, and it does give you the pop. I would say it could be setting up a flat top right here. So down here, right around this neckline, which you could say trend line, just to your breakout level is about 4%. The go-to, I don't know if they reported profitable. Soundtown, I am expecting some selling pressure, and probably I said 58s originally, but if I just mark this wick low right there, that's 60s. I would expect 60s to see a little bit of resistance. Geo taking out the day's high from yesterday. Get out of town. This one has been pretty resilient. I don't know how it's going to act when we get down into this downtrend, and maybe the downtrend isn't anything too special. But actually oil looks fairly notable. Oil trying to tap days high. Uh, Trying to wick into those 82s as well. So a whole dollar level. GM right around that 33.50. Just tap those 33.50s. Doesn't need to pull back in more. Just maybe. I would say you probably have some sort of trend line. FVR at days high when everything's kind of just trading off a little bit. So why would that be at days high? AMC, actually a pretty decent look on AMC. I'm not gonna lie. It's trying to break over top of these upper 60s. Not half bad. Down up to 59s, tapped it. Hasn't tapped those 60s yet. I'd expect some orders off those 60s. But here we are on a full green engulfing candle. Other than that, I really don't have anything else for you guys right now. It seems like we're just kind of waiting for some levels to work out. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing really that we can go off of. Take a look at SoFi, a nice channel break right there. Had a tight channel marked. Here's your open of the day. Trades down, takes it out. Now a sideways consolidation. Nice U build right here. SoFi actually could have something building here. Look at the daily chart here. Given a nice slope up, if this wants to start coming back down into these levels right here, 8 seems like a good hold level. Decent look on Boyle here. Still continuing to hold this trend line. I don't know when we put this in. I don't know if we adjusted it after. No, this trend line has stayed the same. And go look at the 15-minute chart of this action down here. Wow. Wow, look at that double bottom. Testing those lows, probably making some people feel a little bit scared of a flush. Gives a nice move, bull flag, gaps up. Trading sideways. I wouldn't be surprised to see if this as a neckline, so over 66, could really catch a bid back up to those 70s. Wouldn't be surprised. ICCT still trading right around this range. Is it halted again? No, it's not. We're getting some price action. Is this going to be something that we could try? You see, it's trying to hold this 21. We were watching it off this gap, and it reclaimed 6 pretty much immediately. Would have been a dandy of a fill. Man, maybe I need some more coffee. I feel really sluggish today. ICCT right into these 8s again. Let's go see what the tape's looking like with this name. Soundhound looks like we're right in there around those 240s. SPGC still hasn't stopped us out. GNS holding 50s. Oh, let's take a look at this ICCT. I mean, this is honestly a pretty typical setup that I would like. You got this little S formation right here. Retested this high already and this high. So a lot of decent support to go off of. I just would like to get the golden entry. I always want to try and get that golden entry. And Soundhound actually right at these 61s. I don't know if this is gonna have any type of movement, but we're waiting to see if this can catch a bid. Warner Bros. Right at that 13. Devon very close to that 51. PayPal tried to tap those 63s. GM close to those 50s. I mean, there's not really anything that looks like it's in an area that we're super interested in. And I know this is a large watch list, but we're Kiva on a nice pump. Nice pump. Up to those 109s, I would say. Full green engulfing candle. I would just mark it like this. And your next level is probably 112s. Sound down up to 62s. Get out of here. And that is a little bit surprising, this type of candle to come on in like this. I would have expected some resistance off those 60s. PWM doesn't look like it's giving anything. GM right back to those 50s. Geo actually continuing the print. We're officially at uh, over yesterday's high. Not a bad look there. Honestly, I didn't think that it would be able to even. I didn't even notice this. Did this yesterday? Oh my god, this tried to trade down. Look at that resilient 7 hold, and it closes. It still closed at 707. I didn't even see that. Interesting. Very interesting. So good buying pressure off of that 7. That was the second to last candle of the day. Wow. Uh, Baba tried to retrace up to the gap, got very close to those 94s. Right, clear that chart. I would say 90, 50 to 90 are into those 89s. Uh, I'm not opposed of it down there in those levels. ICCT giving up the ghost just a little bit. Let's go take a look at this and see if we can see anything transpiring here. This is candle number 3. Oh boy, I could have just maybe tried to punch in for some. Let's try it, some small size here. Uh, let's try a small size position on this ICCT. We should have got 75s there. We did. So we tried these 75s here, and we can maybe try and average some more in, but let's add some spice to the day. Coming on into 60s, we can try and add just a little bit more size here when the it came back down and tested those 50s again. I'd say that 50 is that line in the sand right there. So underneath 50s is going to be my out. But if this wants to catch a bid, I wouldn't be surprised to see this absolutely rip to the upside. Now 80s stacking on the bid. Giving that up. Let's see if this can reclaim 9 or 8. We don't have size on this position, so we're gonna be holding for a dream here, guys. So you're not gonna see me getting trims on the name. We're holding this for the dream. We're holding this for breakout high. But we're trying it. GM holding above those 50s. Warner Brothers holding above 13s. Excuse me. Sorry. Go take a look back at it. Not much size, trying to hold 75s, but you know, we can play this support level. Anything in the 60s we can maybe average in. And here 70s look like they're gonna give up here, so let's try and get a little bit more size on this. We're gonna give it a chance at least. We should have got 62s there. And we did. So we got 62s. And here's 50s coming on in. And we should have just got 55s there. And we have the size on the position that we want. We'll see if this has any weight. So we'll see if this wants to have any weight. We're going to put an out at those 730s. So 730 is going to be our out. But catching a nice little bid here. Good start to the position. By no means is it out of the woods. We can even play like 735s if we wanted to. 735s is going to be an out for us. So we got 75, 62s, and 52s. By no means is this looking good for us yet. But we're going to see if these 750s can hold here. Not financial advice. Do not follow me on this trade. This is a extremely volatile name that is probably going to end up stopping us out. But if these 50s can hold, I see the potential on it. And it looks like we are going to end up getting stopped down this name. Holy buckets, that was close. That was super close. Hold those 50s. Come on. And this is looking like we're going to get stopped out. Hold. Hold 50s. Hold. Hold the line. Hold the line. Hold the line. Oh, she's going to break down right here. Oh, we have 50 lots. Oh, here's 39s. Hold. Oh, trying to hold. It does not look like it's going to, though. Right into those previous highs. It has a chance. Do not stop us out. Come on, baby. Oh, there's a stop out right there. They got us. So we'll take a hit there. But you know, I thought it was worth a shot. Maybe we can try this again if it gets back down to like 675. But that's underneath the body candle. I just don't know. Probably ends up wicking. But I mean, I don't see any other place that we would have wanted to give it more risk. ICCT. We gave it a shot. But that is a stop out. Let's see where the stop came in at. Right where we put the stop. So, yeah, we'll take the small hit there. And it's probably going to hold these 50s right here. And there's 60s. Oh boy, now it's gonna get ready to go. 5 minutes left in this candle looking like this. It's gonna go claim eight, I think. But I'm not gonna try it again. That was the one attempt that we were gonna have with it. Is what it is. Eventually you gotta have an out when you're playing a name like this. And my out was those 32s. But that's alright. We'll move on and go from there. SPGC, still just a boring name. Soundhound, catching a nice little bit into the middle of that green candle. 4 minutes left. Doesn't look bad. Geo catching days high at 16. GFAI, I don't know if the earnings actually came out today, but light volume, so we're probably not going to play it. Warner Brothers, holding 13's GM. Yeah, 33.50, line in the sand. Kind of a false break to the downside with it, but not a half bad look. And I'm just so intrigued with this ICCT. If this wants to keep this curl, you can see the sort of channel that it has. Something like that. Wouldn't be surprised to see top end up at like these 950s. Geo is really getting going here. AMC continuing the churn. A little bit of a wick top coming in, but not a half bad look on AMC. I actually like the look that it had even when it was taking out this 1110, 1113 area. GNS given that frowny face, filled the gap. I'd expect some, where is this trend line rolling in through? I forgot about the trend line. How dare I forget about the trend line. I got it really close to that trend line. There's probably a couple different ways you can put it, but we're looking for this kind of area to hold. Kind of a higher low confirmation almost. If it got over top of 75s, PWM could get going. ICCT, man, this one is gonna go. This one is gonna go. I mean, you probably should have it more so like this. I mean, that's a good look right there. All it would take is a green candle, boom, blast through, and before you know it, 17. And right through eights again. And we were very close to having one right here. We would probably been punching out some shares into those eights. As for those tight stops, if this was a less volatile name where it wasn't moving as much, I probably would have had stops underneath 7 around that 690. I actually might have even been looking to add more into this neckline here. Uh, Not a half bad look, honestly. I still think that uh, this could break the day's high up here at 940s, and actually you could see it halt around that price and give you that move to the upside. Let's go see what we can find. If we can find something else. Oh boy, oh boy. He actually not a half bad look. PWM up to those 70s. That's 70. That's 77 wick top right there. Could be something. Soundhound really building this sort of flat top right here at these 62s. If that wanted to get going, I think that this is a name that could run. Hmm. Yeah, pretty boring today, guys. I mean, there's not anything really here that I would say, oh, this is a dandy of a setup. We can scroll through some of these names. TTTO, that wick top right there, if it came back in, maybe something here. Look at the daily, still holding strength. NAOV. AGIL. Let's take a look at AGIL. TO. Kind of a neckline break here on a lot of increased volume. Definitely has some resistance built up here at these 125s. This could be a breakout. There's the 125. We're watching it live right here. DBGI, digital brands. There's 127s. Mm. 32 is just like that. It's a nice break out there. We were pretty close to punching it. Back into these 127s though. We can think about it. This is putting us in a bind right here. Do we want to try this? Let's try a small fill here off these 26s. Let's see if this can be a continuation play. We can think about some more off of these 24s, maybe 23s. I like the volume increase on this. There's a wick of selling, but let's try and add a little bit more right here. That washout top is worth noting, that is scary. Two minutes, 50 seconds left in this candle. We're going to be able to tell a lot from this play, from how this candle closes. Here's 22s. Let's try and get a little bit more size off of this. Let's try these 21s right here, and then we'll think about exiting. Washout top should just get out right now. But we'll give this 21, so we got 25. What do we got for our orders here? We got 26, 23s, and 21.5. We got 1 minute left in this candle. Holding that top of this is a decent start, which should have some good support from this wick as well. So a lot of that right in off that 22s. That washout top is a little bit scary though. There's 25s. So feeling a little bit better, but not able to hold. '24s, a few of them chipping away at those '24s here. Got a 24 open. 127 lots off 23s. Chipped away a few 24s there. And there we got through 24s. Let's see if we can reclaim these 25s. A washout top is extremely scary. Chipping away some of the 23s on the bid. Oh boy, took out those 23s. Not too much size built in here off these 22s, but we do think we have some support here. Bid stacking a little bit more off 22s, but still has 200 lots on these 23s. That's gonna have to take out. I mean, if this reclaims 25s, I think it looks pretty good. It's probably got some sort of moving average in these 20s. Not sure where the moving averages are, but if this can really get going. Took out a good chunk of those 23s and just took it bid stacked immediately on 23s here. And not too much size on 24s, just good. And there we go, we're starting to see that wick into that green candle. It's a good start. Now we claim 24s. We'll see if this can give us a nice move through 25s. Still just the battle's taking place right here. And here's some good size coming in on the bid. Let's see if this can get us going. Tapping out 25s. Chipping away some more 25s. Chipping away more 25s. Only 59 on lots on 25s now. There was 120. See if I can keep chipping away at them. 81 lots on the bid. Chipped away a few more 25s, but some more stacked on 25s at these 63s. Not too much volume coming in yet. But there was good size that jumped in on those 23s. And here we're still have some of that size and ate through it quickly. Right back into these 22s. So we'll see if some buyers can jump back in off these previous highs. But after those highs, I just don't know if this is going to be something that we're looking to hold back into this 21. But honestly, if we were patient, right in here is where we'd be really interested. But I don't think we're going to give it down to that area. Has some good size here off 22s, but I mean, that's size that can get taken out very easily. Trying to hold these 23s again. Kind of an indecision candle. We'll see if we can get the continuation. Notable move on GFAI through that level. Geo continuing to the upside as well. Soundhound probably has some sort of downtrend right in here, give or take something like that. TO, not too much size on 23s, but you know, if this gives us a clean break of these 25s, this could be a nice stair step where we could see a nice green candle start coming on in. Light volume here. I do like how it's wicking into that. I mean, it's there right now, but it continues to wick into these 22s, which is that high. That's kind of that line in the sand almost, which is your previous highs right here. Now we got 21s. We're in this area where we just want to see the buying come in the middle of this green candle. We don't want to see a red engulfing down to that level. Chipping away some 23s. We'll see if this has the weight to give us a move or not. Back down to these 21s. This is not the area that we want to be at. We want to see the bid stacked on 22s, and there we're stacked on 22s again. 190 lots on these 22s, so I feel good about that, but I mean, that could easily be taken out. So, I mean, just because there's some size stacked right there doesn't mean that it means anything. We got 30 lots to take out at 23s. 5 minutes left on this candle. It is showing a wick into that green move. You got your previous highs here, so right through those 22s again. That's what I was talking about. That size can be taken out very easily. It takes out these 21s. It's getting close to that area where we may think about getting out. I'd say at the full red engulfing candle is probably our out. Here's the 21s chipping away some of those 21s. And it just took them out. We got these 120s left. That's it. Stacked back on 21s though. probably not going to add any more to this play. We're on the brink of probably getting out. Chipped away some 22s there though. There was 80 lots. Now we're at 44 lots. So let's see if it can keep churning away at some of these. There's not much size on the bid. We'll give it the next candle open, but we're on the brink of exit at that range. No size on 21s here. It's probably going to give them out right about. And here's only 100 lots on 120s. I'm going to put this 118 out there for our out. 118. Still wicking into those, so stacking on 21s. We still have some hope here. Soundhound up to 63s, Geo churning up to 70 or 22s, GFAI catching a bid, PMW nothing there, Invax turned green, GM holding above 3350, amps crossing over. We're probably gonna go get a fill on amps. Here, I'll keep an eye on amps. There's a GNS back down to those low 40s. One minute left in this candle. Let's see if any buying comes in the back half of this candle. If it doesn't and we open red, I'd say 118 is going to be that out. Chipping some 22s here. So still a little bit of buying pressure. Maybe we can see 23s. A close above at 22 or higher, I would say is decent. There's taking out those 22s. Not much size on 23s. Take out 23s. So buyers coming in at the back half of this candle. We got 181 lots, 160 lots. So chipping some 24s. Chipping away 24s. And big size just went through the tape for some selling pressure. So we're actually sitting at 21s right now. We have a close of the candle, so let's see how this is going to play out when this next candle opens. Are we going to see a nice little push here at the start of this candle? We're going to find out. So we do have the open of the next candle. We'll give this just a little bit of leeway right there. That we're still trading in it. But we'll see. We will see. 22s are stacked, so that's a good sign. Only 33 lots. So able to close that candle above these highs could be what some people were just waiting for. Let's see if we can get some buying pressure here. Chipping away 23s. Still expecting some selling pressure. There's not too much range on the previous candle, so it can take that out fairly quick. Soundhound also churning. Able to take out 23s. Well, 194 lots on 24s. Can't take this out. If it gets over 25s, I think 25 could be some sort of breakout level. Hasn't chipped away any of these 24s. No bids stacking on these 23s really yet. Small size. And there's a little bit of size. Chipping some 24s there. Is it going to be able to get going here? GFAI is sort of catching a bit, up 4%. Light volume though. It was only able to chip away just a few of those 24s. And it's chipping a few more and chipping away more of them and taking out those 24s. So here we got 25s. There's not much size on 25s here. If this can get going, this candle does not look half bad. And there's 25s, chipping some of them away. Bid stacking more on 24s. Taking out a good size lot there at 25s and taking out the 25s. Now let's see if we can get bullish here. Hold 25s. We need more stacked on 25s. We got 10 lots on 25s here. Chipped away some 26s there. And we took out 26s. Let's see if we can get bullish now. We're going to switch that stop and start taking out some orders if this gets up into the middle, like 28s, 20 to 30s is this next level that we're going to be looking for. Decent green candle coming on in though. Gave up 26s, that's fine. It doesn't have much size. That's stacked on the ask. And right back through 26s, there we go. And here we go. Can we see 27s get taken out? Still early in this candle. Amps is still trading around. We'll focus on amps. We got plenty of time on amps. We have full attention here on TO. As long as it doesn't wick back in, I just want to see 22s keep holding here. Right back into 25s. I don't like that wick look right there. Do not like that washout top again. There's got to be a moving average somewhere in these upper 20s. Is it something that's keeping people from buying it? Because that was, I mean, you can't draw up a better continuation candle than that full green engulfing candle. That could have easily went and ripped. Nine minutes left on the candle. Wicking back in, bids on 23s. Wicking, did it give up those 23s? It sure did. That washout top right there. Still have a lot of time left in this candle. You know, my out is probably underneath 120s. That washout top, I'm more inclined to just mark it out right now. But we'll give it a chance. A lot of time left. We don't need to make our decision for another 850 unless this really came on in. Looking at some of these other names though. And PWM right around that range as well. Geo still giving a nice churn to the upside. Chipping away some of these 24s. I mean, this could easily still just trade one more candle sideways before we get a move up. But I'd feel a lot more comfortable if it got a back up above those 25s. No size on 23s. GFAI really getting going here. Here we're down to 21s. If it takes out these 21s right here, I'm debating just cutting it. There we go. 22s are stacking again. Invax really getting going right here. We can go take a look at that as soon as we're out of this. Kind of just ready to be out. If that was gonna break out, it should have went right there. So the question I gotta ask is why didn't it? Two washout tops. You know, this may be looked at as a double top to some people. I would have been thinking full bull at that territory, but I mean, I just got in it no more than 40 minutes ago, so I mean, there's a big difference. For somebody that's in down here, yeah, maybe this is a double top. PayPal through 63s, that's a notable move. CGC turned, SPGC is still holding in there, surprisingly as well. Baba turned green as well, so it actually did have the strength to fill that gap. Back down to these 21s. At this size it's taken out, we're debating on just cutting this name. I could held those 21s again. 5 minutes left on the candle. Back down to these 21s. Oh boy. Really not a good look there. Reclaim 22s, so, I mean, 22, we got 2 marks on 22, so this is really a level in the sand for us, where we'd want to see the buyers keep holding this 22s. Mr. Drift, how we doing? We may have got ourselves into one that's going to work for us or it's not. I mean, our average is probably right around these 122s. We took a small fill starting off those 126 off of this candle. We thought it was going to be good. We also got 23s, which is kind of the wick tops, and then 22s, which is the wick top here. So we've been extremely patient with this, but honestly, given the feel, this candle, we thought it was getting ready to go. We're getting ready to get outs on 28s, 29s, 30s, all the ways through this wick. We just don't know if it's going to pan out, honestly, so we'll see. But trying to hold these 22s is the pretty much the line in the sand that I have. But we'll see. We'll see. ATHM. We should have a fill on this today, but just didn't drop enough. In amps, we do have an alert on amps. We are going to go over and probably throw an order out for amps. But I got to see if this trade is going to work out or not. I mean, you can see that the trend line that we have set, we're not going to hold it down into this. I just don't think that we can. And washout top right here, washout top right here. We literally have one lot on 23s holding like a glove. There's no chance that 23s hold there. But if 22s can hold, I mean, this still has hope for a green candle. Volume's kind of dampened down a little bit, but let's see what that volume's like. If we're able to get over these 127s, I really think that this could get going, so I don't want to cut it. But an aggressive trade name that we have here. We should have a close of the candle coming on in. I have to go to the bathroom so bad. We're gonna give these 21s a chance. If it takes out 250 lots here, it's not meant to be. Keeps holding these 22s. Call out from Yannick. The Baba move is over. Huh. Huh. Yeah, okay. We'll see about that. Well, this is candle number 3. If it can keep holding 21s. Maybe. $255 lots on 22s, so that bid from 21s probably climbing up to that 22s, hopefully. And there's chipping away 23s. Come on, baby. Continuing to hold those previous highs. Continuing the chip away 23s. Only 37 lots here. With 260 lots off 22s. 259 lots off 22s. And there we took out 23s. And there we took out 24s. Is it going to get going here? I don't know, Drift. What do you think? Oh, you said be right back. My bad. I didn't even see that. I mean, it's either going to go or it's not. I don't think I'm going to give it down to here. Chipping away more 25s. More 25s stacking on the bid here. Chipping more 25s. There's not too much size stacked on 24s though. Really giving that look like it wants to though. Come on now, we got 8 minutes. Chipped more 25s, down to 31 lots now. Slowly chipping them away. Invax is still looking decent. Warner Bros holding 13s, DFS holding 90s, BAC holding 29s, GNS right around 150s, Soundhound right around 62s. Ah, the 24s gave up on TO. So continuing to put lower wicks right here. Still, if it can get over top of that, I think it looks decent. Oh boy, it doesn't look like it's gonna have the juice. Gosh, it was so close. So close. 830 lots on the ask here. Oh boy. Took out 300 lots there. Oh my god, it's getting spicy. It's getting spicy here. We got 333 lots on 22s, 588 lots on 23s. Continued lower highs though. If it was gonna break out, I feel like it could have went. It should have went right there. Gosh, why does it keep doing this? Why can't it just give me the break? If it was that easy, everybody would do it. It's gonna make me work for it. It's gonna make me work for it. If we get that 25 break, I just have a hard time thinking it's not gonna go. Just wasn't able to get that little extra juice. Ton of size on the ask here. Oh boy, it gives it up. There's 21s. I mean, at this point, we might as well give it to the teal. Oh boy. God, that frowny face looks terrible. 5 minutes left on this candle. Took out some good size there at 22s though. There was 200 lots there, now it's 34. So maybe, just maybe. Not much size on 23s, no. Maybe if it gets back there, that guy gets a little bit worried. Took out 23s. Oh boy, there's no size on these 24s anymore. Come on. God, those lower wicks, each one of them. All it would take is just get over top of that. We can get going. Oh boy, back down to these 350 lots. Chip some of those 22s again. Two minutes left on the candle. Oh my goodness. Took out the 22s. I mean, the patience here is unmatched. The patience here is unmatched. Come on, baby. Talk about looking at something for 45 minutes straight, and then you tell me if the patience is unmatched. You let me know if the patience is unmatched after looking at something for 45 minutes straight. Go ahead, do it. Invex, rejecting those 50s. Reclaim 4 GNS sitting around those, just underneath those 50s. Warner Bros. Continuing to hold those 13s is a good sign, I'd say. I mean, could give you the feel. Volume decent on the candle, holding 22s. I mean, we got two lines marked here at 22s. It can't be a coincidence that it keeps holding 22s, right? We'll open of the next candle. Stair step down, wick into it, maybe. I can't pull this over anymore. We can't pull it over anymore. It's time. This is 1, 2, 3 candles of consolidation. It's time. Oh my god, it claimed 23s. Let's go. Time to go. The time is now. Hold 23s. Hold 23s. Take out 24s and take out 25s. Sounds like an easy game. It's an easy game. You just gotta do it. You know what I mean? Just gotta do it. Take out 24s and take out 25s. Simple game. I've never seen this setup right here where it gives a washout top, another washout top, and it continues to just hold the level that you mark that makes you interested in the first place. It's not too often I see that. I don't know if I've ever seen it like this. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we're going to take some good information from this regardless. Take out 24s, then take out 25s. Simple game. Just chipped away 14 lots at 24s. We got 53 lots there. Downtown still a nice churn. AMC. Oh, we could have tried it. Uh-oh, more bids stacking on 23s. Even more bid stacking on 23s. Is it going to try for it? 154 lots stacked on 23s. Chipped away 3 lots there off 24s. And there it took out 24s. Easy game. Take out 25s. Good to go. 130 lots. Let's go for it. Come on. 13,000 shares to take out there. Easy game. It's a simple game. Simple game. Oh, gave up 24s. That's alright. We still have good lots on these 23s. Oh boy, more size. Even size. 100 lots apiece on the bid and ask. Took out 75 lots on those 24s though. Come on. Reclaim 24s. Simple game. Take out 24s. Take out 25s. God, each one of these wicks getting lower. That is a scary sight. $30 lots on 24s. That's not too much to ask for. Come on. Oh boy, gave up 23s. That is no bueno. I mean, the patience with this. I mean, it does not look pretty from this perspective. But I mean, if this is able to push this somehow, Lord, let's see a freaking pump. GGC, nice little candle there. GFAI. Geo with a nice little move. Holding sevens was big. GNS. Just a slow turn to the downside. How does it act at this low? Does it have more support down in here? And there's your channel. Nice pump up to 140s. Potential. Warner Bros. Getting close to that 15s. Invex. A nice move right up to those 50s almost. The trend line has been resilient. GNS getting very close to that trend line. Oh boy, TO gave up 22s. Oh boy. And there's 21s going through the tape. Gosh, that look right there is not pretty. Five minutes left. Let's see if we can get some buying pressure. Took out some 22s there. Took out some more there. Let's get back on top of 22. It hasn't been able to set a close underneath the 22s. Just because it's trading at 21s right now, we're not going to panic. GFAI catching a nice bid. Probably missed my entry that I was looking for. Shipping some more 22s. 2 minutes 40 seconds left on this candle, and there it gave up 21s. Let's give it a little bit of time. We'll probably give it this 21 right here. I'd say 18s coming on in. It's gonna be the out. There's 19s over there. Is this gonna be an adding opportunity for some people? We're not gonna test it. Let's just go ahead and get this stop loss, and we'll give it. We'll see if any buying pressure can come in. Not a good look. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, all the ways through. Two minutes left in this candle. We'll see if this can hold. It's not looking pretty though. Yeah, I know, puppy. You gotta go outside. I gotta go to the bathroom myself. Oh my gosh, CGC, get out of here. Oh my gosh. Why couldn't that just come down to this gap? Oh my gosh, that is insane. What the heck? You gotta be kidding me right now. I had the alert up here at the beginning of the day. By the grace of God, this is holding. I mean, we're gonna be committed to this out. We're committed to this out. If it's gonna stop us out, but I mean CGC. I mean an absolute. I mean, if I was gonna play something for the volatility, it would probably be one of these weed names. I'm sure all of them are absolutely pumping. The ETF MSOS is absolute rip city. Oh my gosh, look at this absolute tear that this is going on right now. Invax. Oh my gosh, look at this absolute drip on MSOS. Go back to TO. 21's holding. I'm gonna go let the dog out and go to the bathroom and get some food. We'll come back and take a look at this and yeah, guys, I'll be back. And we're back. I mean, what a swing of events. I can't help but think that, I mean, we could have definitely executed a lot better today. We're going to get stopped out on this trade, more than likely. The odds increasing red volume, very good that we get stopped out there. CGC. I mean, this is absolutely unbelievable. We have an alert set for a breakout. It's looking like it's going to gap up early in the day. We move that alert to the bottom of this wick. We say, hey, there's a decent trend line right here. If this breaks down, we're going to get alerted. We're going to hammer the trend line. We're going to hammer the gap. It just trades sideways, and look at this volume that's coming in the CGC. Absolutely unbelievable right here. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, man, I talk about not being perfect every day. But this one hurts. This one stings a little bit. You know, we even could have kept an alert on both sides and just waited. I mean, from this 41 break right here, absolutely monstrous move. 15% in a matter of minutes. Unbelievable. Invax, I mean, at least we have some positives for the day. We executed our plan on Soundhound. We held strong. We could have had more on that false break of 50, but could have had more size here. Man, I mean, GNS getting very close. I mean, I should probably just go frickin' rip it on GNS right now, the way that this alert just barely wicked down to it and respected the trend line. I mean, I don't. That is something right there. This candle that comes in on our CGC, MSOS. Let's see if this is opened yet. Oh my gosh, absolute tear on MSOS right here. I mean, at least for long it, but I don't think we're even gonna think about selling it. Any of the weed names right here. What's IIPR doing? IIPR continuing the churn to the upside. I'd say the cannabis names, if you're looking for some trades, is probably a good place to kind of lean towards. The only thing that can remind me is what the heck is Mullen doing? Looking like this is going to kind of give up the ghost. It does have a little bit of wick buying though. Off of the trend line though, I would say, you know, maybe that can be played around a little bit. I mean, your risk reward here is probably pretty good. You can give it 2 pennies. Then you're right into this. I mean, if you're running a hard stop, 55 is probably a good out. I don't know what else to say, guys. I mean, that hurts to be taking a losing trade on this. You know, unbelievable that it didn't stop me out there though. Holy buckets. So I mean, maybe some hope here, but you can see the consistency of lower highs right here. You could say maybe a wedge pattern that could break down, catch a bid. I'll probably get stopped out, and then it starts ripping. Just It's just the emotions and just the kind of the mindset of that can, like, the market is going to test you. It's going to test you. Uh, but I mean, that's going to call it for the live stream today. I'm going to have to really try not to have nightmares on this CGC. I mean, we mentioned this a little bit yesterday when I was catching a bid. We said that if it comes back down in this trend line, it just, look how freaking close that gets. I mean, if you don't believe me, go back to the beginning of the live stream today when we were watching this and we adjusted our alert from 41 break down to here. If you'd have told me that, and not to mention GFAI, we've been had this on this stocks for today list for a while, and we said we were either waiting for neckline 425 or a breakout over top of this 460. Well, we didn't execute that either. The only thing that would make this day worse, is if ATHM ends up ripping through 31s and I don't have it. That's the only thing I'm gonna be more pissed about, because we watched this right at the open and it gaps down and we said, we think it can drop a little bit lower. This is the we go to the daily chart. You see, this is just the wick high from the day before. and we were a hard ass for 4 cents. 4 cents. So I'm gonna be extremely upset if. But I mean, there's always gonna be more opportunities. It just sucks not having this type of move right there, because I mean we could have the entry down here near 40 flat. We'd only be trimming right now. We said you can go back to the beginning of the live stream. We said from this alert price you had about a 60% move for the gap right there. If that gap comes in, I mean that's a huge move. It sucks. It's hard to do. And I'm talking to myself right now because nobody's here. But what do I know? Just threw this on the frickin' watch for today. Almost having wick lows. But that's going to call it for the day. Appreciate anybody.